Welcome to Ordinary People Podcast, where we talk to ordinary people with extraordinary stories. I'm your host, Alan the Great, and today on the Extraordinary Opinion segment, I'm going to discuss a topic that was given to me by one of my long-term listeners and supporter of the Ordinary People Podcast. I often encourage you, my audience, not only to give me your opinion on my segments, whether you agree or disagree. I also encourage you to give me topics to discuss. Well, one of my long-term listeners actually did take advantage of this opportunity to give me a topic to discuss and asked me to speak on a topic that's kind of controversial in his opinion. The topic they asked me to speak on was religion versus spirituality and how religion has enslaved and divided us over the years. Let me jump right into it like this. Um, Background on this subject. While in college, I had to take a world religion class. First question the teacher asked us, the class was, um, what was our opinion in regards to spirituality and religion. This was a very difficult question at the time. This was a very difficult question, and one of the most difficult questions I ever had to answer. I'm going to go into what's my opinion on these two things and on the enslavement of our minds with religion. Let's start with the topic of religion. Now, we all know what religion is, right? You can be Muslim, you can be a Christian, Catholic, so on, so on. And basically, religion is, you go to your church, your temple, your synagogue, your mosque, and you go and you talk. You talk and you communicate with other people of the religion. You communicate and you worship your God, whoever he is, whoever you believe your God is, whether it is God, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Allah. You go and you worship him. Now we talk about spirituality. Spirituality is a little different in a lot of people's opinion, because spirituality deals with people having church in their homes, in a community center. They might have church on a beach. You might have church in a bathroom. It doesn't matter where you are, you have church, because the reality is with church, it's supposed to live inside you and not a building. Now, there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of issues with religion and spirituality and people's choice to believe, especially in this country right now. We're not going to get into the politics of what the Muslims are going through in America right now. We'll save that for a whole nother segment. But what we will talk about is the issue with religion. Now, I know this is a taboo type of subject because, as you might know, and we all in society have said this, two subjects that people don't like to talk about is politics and religion. It's two sensitive subjects, and I guess it's controversial. And when I mentioned to several people in my circle about me touching this topic, their response was that this is very controversial. With my response being is, okay, more reason I need to give my opinion on it. So without further ado, I held you in suspense long enough. Let's just jump right into it. What is my opinion about religion versus spirituality? My opinion about it is religions have did more to divide us than it has to unite us, and that's the reality. What do I mean by that? It has been more to divide us because we're broken up in groups. Okay, how we've been broken up in groups? Let me break it down. You have Christianity, you have the Muslim community, you have the Catholic community, you have the Hindu community, so on and so forth. I'm not going to name all the religions, but you have different communities. Not only do you have different communities, but you have the Jewish community. And what you have is you have people Jewish people that don't deal with the Muslim people. You have Christians that don't deal with Muslims. Catholics and Christians have issues. Then you break it down to Protestants and Methodists, and you break them down to all these different names, and these words just create more division, and you keep breaking down, and it further divides people. Now, if you listen to the podcast, you may hear me say this many times, that one of the worst things that we face as people is division. Now, religion has been causing that division. It has caused division. But is it just religion that's causing that division? Is it just the word religion that's causing that division? Or is it people and choices that's causing the division? Personally, I would say it's people and choices. Yes, religion causes division because it draws those lines, but those lines are drawn by people. People who don't respect other people's beliefs, their choice to believe. That's what truly causes division within religion, is that you don't respect a Muslim right to read the Quran, or a Jewish person's right to read the Torah, or a Christian's belief to read the Bible. We have issues with that, and that comes a problem where I can't support yours. I can't support a Muslim reading it. The reality is with this is we're all praying to the same God. See, I'm a full disclosure, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. But I also believe in we're all praying to one God. I don't believe there's multiple gods. I don't believe there's one God for Muslims, one God for Jewish people, one God for Christianity. I believe it's just one God. That's my belief. And if you disagree, that's fine. I mean, you have a right to disagree. You have a right to your beliefs, and I will respect whatever your beliefs are. The problem is with religion is, and I'm going to say this, and this is very controversial, most people are insecure in their beliefs. What I've noticed is most people are insecure in their beliefs. What I mean by insecure in their beliefs is, I look at a lot of people who are so committed and so afraid to think outside of what religion is, and you look into their lives, you start to really dig, and you notice something. They've been through a traumatic event. Maybe they had a drug problem. Maybe they had a problem with alcohol. Maybe they had a problem with marriages, problem with money, gambling. There was some kind of issue. And when you take away that problem, you leave a void there. And I feel like a lot of people rely on church and the Bible and these religions as a whole to fill that void, to become that crutch that they can lean on. Well, here's the problem with that. If that is what you're doing, if that's what you're using it for, then you're using that tool the wrong way. You're using it the wrong way, and not only that, you're not truly understanding what's the point of it. What the point of religion is, and the point of God in our lives is to bring us together, for us to love each other, to respect each other. But see, that's the one thing we don't do within religion. Whether you believe in you're Jewish, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're Catholic, the ultimate goal is to love and respect each other. But see, we don't do that. We're too busy judging each other. We're too busy telling each other where they're going, what's true and what's not true. You know, when people ask me, when you ask me a question about spirituality and religion, I had to think really hard on it. And spirituality is a thing where, yes, you can have a relationship with God and you can take your relationship out of the church. My opinion always been about the church has been this. I can't speak on Muslims and where the mosque that they worship at, because I've never been there, never been a Muslim. I know a little bit about the background, but not enough to dive deep into it. I know a little bit about the Jewish background, but not enough to dive into it. I know a little bit about the Hindu background, but not enough to dive into it. But I know a little bit about the Catholic background, but not enough to really dive into it. So right now I'm going to speak strongly on Christians. What I always say is this. Church is a place for fellowship. A church is a place where all of us can come together as Christians, as people. We can talk. We can pray together. We can support each other. We can build each other up. Now, God is in us. Whether you're Muslim, Christian, Catholic, Hindu, Jewish, whatever your religious beliefs are, God is in you as a person. He's in you. He's in your soul. So it really doesn't matter whether you go to a church or not. That's what spirituality is. Spirituality is having God in you and be willing to go anywhere and always know He's always going to be with you. But see, the problem with people is it's that insecurity. It's not about God. See, it stops. What happens with religion is it stops being about God. And I know most people are not going to admit this, but it stops being about God and starts being about the person. Once you start worrying about what someone's wearing to church, what they're not wearing to church, see, then it stops being about God and it starts being about your own personal point of view. When you worry about where somebody's going, their life choices, it stops being about God and start being about you. Because see, even when somebody's down and making a bad decision, as a religious or spiritual person, your first goal should be to try to lift that person up, not to further prosecute them, not to further push their head down underwater. It's to lift them up, encourage them, build them up. That's supposed to be your goal. Now, do all Christians make this mistake? Absolutely not. See, Christianity, Muslims, a lot of these religions get bad reps. Now, I'm just going to solely focus on Christianity for the sake of the argument today. Like I said, we'll dig into the Muslim problem in the country at another later date, but let's just focus on Christianity for a second, because that's what I know. One of the issues with Christianity, it gets a lot of bad reps. One of the bad reps it gets is, oh, the preacher is driving the nicest car. The preacher's all about money. The church is all about money. Okay, do you have bad preachers? Absolutely. Yes. Yes. There is bad preachers. But once again, if you listen to my previous episode where I talked about the Steve Harvey and Donald Trump meeting, you would heard me say when I discussed police in African American community, there is bad and good African Americans, just like there is bad and good police. Well, it's the same as in church in any instance of life. Whether you're talking about Muslims, Jewish people, Hindu, Catholics, Christians, there is always going to be bad and there's always going to be good. It's the yin and yang of life. It's always going to be that way. But you can't separate and take the bad and mix them all with the good and use them as the measuring stick for the church. Okay, so yes, you have bad pastors out here that may molest children, molest boys, or doing wrong, or they all in for the money, but that doesn't make all Christians that way. That don't make every pastor that way. There is good pastors that are truly out to motivate and do their job, be the shepherd of God, to motivate and push people, get them closer to God, get them closer to not only God, but reaching their goals, spirituality inside them, love, compassion, the things that make a good Christian. There is pastors out there that do it. But, like life, we kind of focus on the negative. We like to focus on the negative. Now, let's talk about, let's step off that for a second. Let's talk about enslavement. Let's talk about enslavement in religion. Now, before I did the podcast, I asked a few questions to a few people. I said, what do you think about enslavement? What do you think about enslavement? And one person said that, they had an argument with their husband. And one of the arguments, they don't like talking to religion about their husband because their husband often mentions that Christianity was pushed onto the African American community by Europeans as a way to enslave us, to put fear in us, to keep us in line. Now, is that accurate? Absolutely. Yes. There is documentation that proves that that is accurate, that Christianity was once used to be used as a tool to keep slaves in line and put fear in them. That's accurate. However, here's the thing. There is things that's good that was used improperly. Let me explain to you something. Whether Europeans pressed Christianity on us, I don't know. I know very little about my roots because, being African American, I question, one of the things I question to people often is, tell me something about yourself before slavery. That's a question I ask people often. Tell me something about yourself before slavery, and Most people can't answer that question. I know I was a king before slavery. I know I grew up in one of the richest countries, but that's not important to what the subject is. What I'm basically trying to get at is, what was our spirituality before slavery? The reality is, my ancestors were slaves, but I am not. No one made me become a Christian. I chose to. Now, with the talk about enslavement of Christianity and religion being a tool to be slavery, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about. Let me give you an analogy for a second. Water. Water, something you drink. You use to wash your clothes, which you use to wash your body. You use it to put out fires. Water is used if you go into the ocean and you have a cut. Did you know the salt water helps heal that cut? Water is a great tool. We use water to help things grow. Water is a good analogy of what religion is. But let's talk about the bad things that water also do. Water is used by people to drown people. Water has been contaminated to sicken people, kill people. Water has been used to torture people. Waterboarding, the Chinese water torture. So you're probably saying, okay, what does water have to do with religion? Just like religion, water has been used as a tool of good and bad. So can religion be used the same way? Religion can be a tool, even though it's supposed to stand for good, it can be used, spirituality can be used as a tool for bad and to do harm to people. It can be. And it will be. Because you gotta remember, God gave us the right to choose. As human beings, we all have the right of choice. Now, do we all make the right decisions with those choices? No. If we all made the right decisions, I mean, come on, think about it. We wouldn't be in the situation we're in. We wouldn't have so much chaos, anger, hate in this world. We all have the right to choose, but we often make the wrong choices. And even with spirituality, there is people that use it in the wrong way. There is people who may be spiritual or religious, however you want to put it, who are not truly understanding what they're reading, understanding what it means to be spiritual or religious. Whatever word you want to use. There's people that read the Bible every day but don't understand the word that they're reading. There's people that quote the Bible every day and don't understand what they're quoting. There's people with titles of pastors and reverends who don't truly deserve that title. They truly don't deserve that title because they don't understand what comes with it. Who is given much is expected of them. You understand? So if I'm giving the world, then it's expected of me to give the world back to people. And see, some of them people in those roles, they don't understand that. They may want the title but don't want the responsibility. Now, another thing came up in the conversation with the person who asked me to do this was, well, there's people that are religious, but they don't support me because, I have an alternative way of thinking that is a little off the path of religion. One of them alternative ways of thinking is people who may go by the book The Secret. That's been a big issue because it tells you to focus on the universe, your own mental thinking, change the way you think, and controlling more of your own destiny. God gave us the right to change our destiny and to put our destiny in the right way. He gave us the right to. Now, the question is, why don't people support you? Let's discuss that for a second. See, we like to make it seem like religion is the reason people choose not to support us, respect our choices. But that's not the reality. It's not religion that makes people think this way. It's their own personal choices. And a lot of time, let me be honest with you, for those people who out here listening right now who think that their family, their friends, their aunts, uncles, whatever you want to call it, is not supporting you or have an issue with your way of thinking, the way you're living because of their religious beliefs, most of the time, let me be honest with you, it has nothing to do with religion. but has every single thing to do with their own self-confidence, their own self-belief. That's what it comes down to. See, people have this issue where there's an insecurity with themselves, and what they do is they project their insecurities on you, and people hide behind the religions. People hide behind spirituality a lot of times, and they use that as a shield to hide their insecurities rather than deal with them. And they push their insecurities on you, and those are the people that give religious a bad name. Those are people that give spirituality a bad name. See, they're not mentally enslaved, because to be enslaved, you have to be forced to do something. No one's enslaving you or forcing you to do anything. You have to choose whether you want to believe in God or not. You have to choose whether you want to follow that or not. And let me break it down for you deeper. The book, the Bible, people, it's meant to guide you, not define you. Do you understand what that means? It's meant to guide you, not to define who you are. Take the time, take a second to think about that for a second. Let's get back to it. Support. You're looking for support from someone who can't support their own dreams. You're looking for support from someone that may be running from their own demons. The devil may still have their foot on their neck. So you say, oh, they go to church every week, so the devil don't have their foot on their neck. Let me tell you something. As a Christian, let me tell you something. You know when you're doing your job. You know when God is truly working in your life. You know how you know that? That's when the devil really trying to mess with you. That's when he's really trying to put his foot on your neck, is because he knows that you are moving forward. He knows he needs to try his hardest because he's losing the battle to put you down. And the devil's favorite trick is discouragement. That's his only trick. He's selling it for cheap. Discouragement. But God gave you a choice not to buy it. Now, I want to jump into a whole nother thing real quick because I feel it's important. Now, when we talk about spirituality and people, and we talk about the people who are religious, and they really don't, they have issues with people because, let's see, the way they dress, because they don't go to church every Sunday. They may have an alternative lifestyle or way of thinking, so they can't really deal with it. That's not enslavement. That's religious. That's religious beliefs. That's a person who's following something to the T, but also a person who may be fearful. Maybe fearful that your alternative way of thinking, your decision making, might force them to look at their situation, their beliefs differently. That you might convince them that their way of thinking is wrong. Not saying the way the Bible is written is wrong. Not saying that's the Christianity or Islamic Muslim is wrong. It's just saying their way of thinking is wrong, and their interpretation of what religion is wrong, and they're afraid that you might be the person that come along and disrupt that. I had a friend who once, after the election, he was like on social media, he's blasting people about facts of the presidential race, and I pulled him aside and said, what you're not saying is wrong. But you have to understand, once you threaten somebody's freedom, you threaten somebody's belief system, they're going to get defensive. People have this certain way of believing. And once you threaten that, oh, you're in for a war. Because that's their livelihood. Then they have to question everything they thought and seen about life. You need to think about that for a second. Now, I said earlier, I'm sorry that I wanted to jump off subject and go a little different. Let's talk about the people who attack the people who choose to be spiritual, or the people who choose to be religious. Let's talk about them for a second. Here's my question to you if you're listening to this and you're one of those people who attack a Christian or a Muslim or a person who's religious. They're sitting there reading their Quran or their Bible or their Torah. You one of those people. I got a question for you. Why do you care so much about what somebody else believes if you don't? What about it affects you? See, I already dove into why people of a religion feel and act the way they do. I mean, we're dealing with a lot of insecurity. But my question is to you, why do you care so much? What is your issue? Why do you attack these people? Why are you questioning God and their belief in God? Why are you trying to break it down? Why are you trying to question how their faith? Is it because you're that insecure in your lifestyle too? In your beliefs? Don't answer that question. Just think on it for a second. Just think on it for a second. Think about what that means and what you're doing. And ask yourself this question, why are you doing it? You know, we need leaders out here to encourage people. And we don't have to be religious leaders, you don't have to be spiritual leaders, but you have to be leaders. You gotta be leaders in your families, in your groups. Encourage people to learn, but you also have to be able to respect people. See, when the question of my opinion on enslavement and the religion between spirituality, yes, there is a division between religious and spirituality. However you want to slice it, yes, there is divisions. It's clear lines being drawn. It has done much more to divide us than unite us. Yes, religions have done more to divide us than to unite us. Yes, that's true. However, your relationship with God is your relationship with God, and just because something divides us don't mean it can't unite us. But we have to collectively make a decision that we want to choose to respect each other's beliefs and understanding that we all are worshiping and talking to the same God. Think about this. We all go to work, but we all take different routes to go to work. We all go home, but we all take different routes to go home. Why is our relationship with God any different than that? Why do we all have to take one route? Why does it only have to be one route to God? Why can't it be multiple routes? Why can't it be multiple routes that we take to God? Why is that not logical? You know, the other issue is, when people are trying to talk to people about religion and they're trying to give people advice on religion or advice on motivating them, they lose one important factor that I feel like I must point out before I sign off. I give advice to people often when they're talking to their children and stuff. Want to motivate their children to care more about school or care more about working. I say to people often, if you're talking to your teenager about going to college and the importance of working, what are you selling them? Are you selling them on working for a pension? Because if that's what you're selling them, they're not going to buy it. Why are they not going to buy it? Because if you're selling your child, look, you need to focus on retiring and your retirement, and you need to make sure you work for that, and this job is offering you a pension and a good retirement plan. If I'm 18 years old, trust me, I'm not thinking about retirement right now. So you're talking to me about something I can't relate to, I can't see, and I'm not thinking about. It's not in my foreseeable future. Now, if you're talking to me, I'm 18 years old, and you're talking to me about clothing, shoes, video games, now you're talking to me on my level, and you're encouraging me to work or go to school so I can be able to achieve or get those things. What does this have to do with religion? What does this have to do with my opinion? This is what it has to do with it. When you're giving advice about religion, you're giving advice about these subjects, you need to get down to the person's level you're talking to. Don't talk to them from the mountain that you're standing on. Sometimes you gotta climb down that mountain, walk down that path and go to that river, sit beside them, and talk to them about the river. Not the top of the mountains, not the clouds, not the sun, not the moon, not the stars. They don't understand that yet. They're not seeing that yet. That's not in their foreseeable future. So my advice to you is to talk to them about that. If you are a Christian, if you are a Muslim, if you are Hindu, if you are Jewish, learn about your religious background. Truly, dive into the history of it and what it really means. Respect each other, love each other, encourage each other, and don't make a person feel like they're divided. Don't make a person feel like they're enslaved or you're enslaved. Don't be enslaved by your beliefs. Open your mind. But first find security inside of your beliefs and your religious choices. Find security in yourself. Lose that insecurity. That's the only way you're going to help people. And understand that should be your number one objective, is to help encourage, inspire, and motivate people. That should be it. So when you ask me what's my opinion between spirituality and religion, my God follows me all over the place. My relationship with God is special. Talk to him every day, multiple times a day. I don't mind talking about it, because you know what? What me and him talk about is between me and him, will stay between me and him. I know what he's done in my life. I've seen what he's done. I don't know what he has done in your relationship with God. I'm not here to tell you to or not to have a relationship with God. What I am telling you is, let's respect each other's choice. Let's respect each other's beliefs. Be more secure about your beliefs. And if something about your beliefs make you feel a little uneasy, talk to a pastor you trust. Go into a temple you trust. Go into a mosque that you trust. And exercise your security in yourself and your beliefs. Exercise your humanity. Support. Love each other. Stop looking at your own self-interest and think about your brother and your sister's self-interest. Think about them. Look at the person on your left. Look at the person on your right. Tell them you love them. I'm here to support you. I'm here to back you. Find the security in yourself. When you want to talk about enslavement, remember, religion has been used to do very bad things. When you think about extremist Islam, when you think about the Ku Klux Klan, who was walking around with white robes and crosses on them, all in the name of religion, these are crimes committed against people by hate groups who use religion. Remember, other things such as water has been used to harm people. But that doesn't make all water bad. See, you still need water to keep your body going. Your body still needs water. You still need water to grow those plants. You still need water to wash those clothes, to bathe in, wash your car in. You still need water, and there is still good water. There is contaminated water, but there's that clean water. There's that water that's used to hurt people, torture, and drown and kill people. But there's also that water that gives and brings life. So when the question comes to you about spirituality, religion, and the issues with them, think about water and think about religion, and you think about the comparisons. I'm Alan the Great, and you've been listening to the Ordinary People podcast, where we talk to ordinary people with extraordinary stories. This is the Extraordinary Opinion segment. I want to thank y'all for listening. And as always, I encourage y'all to please, if you like this segment, please hit that like button on YouTube. Comment and let me know. Do you agree with my opinion? Disagree? If you don't feel comfortable commenting, you always can email me directly at ordinarypeoplepodcast, number 16, at gmail.com. Once again, that is ordinarypeoplepodcast, the number 16, at gmail.com. Please email me. Or if you have a segment you would like to hear my extraordinary opinion on, please, you can email me a comment. Let me know what you want to hear. Do you want to hear my opinion on anything? There is no topic too big or too small that I won't address. Now remember, I don't know everything about everything, and I don't pretend to. So what I can answer, I will. What I can't, I will politely tell you that sorry, I cannot touch this one yet, or I will do my homework to try to find out. I want to thank y'all for listening. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Alan the Great, and you have a blessed evening.